What's up guys, Ehsan here and welcome back to the channel. We are finally at the end game and we've got just two main bosses left. We have to deal with both of them, but the real question is, who do we tackle first? The final story boss, the one that actually finishes the game, is Ishin, the Sword Saint. The second one is an optional boss, but you'll need him for your trophies, and beating him drops 2 lapis lazuli. That's the Demon of Hatred. Now, here's the problem with the Demon of Hatred. He fights completely unarmed, and by now, you guys know the drill in Sekiro. Fighting a boss without a weapon means deflecting won't do much for you. You literally have to chip away at his vitality until it hits 0. He has 3 phases and honestly, I think he's the hardest boss in the game. That's why attack power is so crucial for this fight. If we jump straight into him right now, we're going to have a brutal time. But if we can grab a couple of attack power points first, it's going to make our lives a whole lot easier. Because of that, I think it's better to go after the final story boss first and take him down. Let's be real for a second. No matter which order we choose, we're in for a nightmare. It's just a matter of picking the path of least resistance. Watch how I handle this, and then you can decide which route works best for you. Just keep one thing in mind. We've unlocked a ton of skills that max out our posture damage whenever we deflect or land a Mikiri counter. So naturally, fighting a boss who actually uses a weapon should be a lot smoother for us. So, the final boss is actually 2 bosses wrapped into one massive 4-phase fight. In the first phase, we have to square off against Genichiro for the 3rd time, specifically Genichiro Way of Tomoe. Honestly, it's not a hard fight at all. It's pretty much identical to phase 3 of the Genichiro Ashina fight. The upside here is that he doesn't use lightning attacks. Instead, he pulls out the Black Mortal Blade. You can easily completely block this attack using Phoenix's Lilac Umbrella without taking any damage, and then immediately hit him with a follow-up attack to stagger him. But right after that, you have to deal with Ishin, the Sword Saint, for 3 whole phases. And let me tell you, it is no walk in the park. I mean, he's the final boss for a reason. Explaining exactly how to fight him is pretty tough because he has a massive moveset and so many different attack types. Plus, the game's AI loves to mix and match them to create new combos on the fly. Because of that, I'm just going to give you a general blueprint on how to handle him. Rule number 1. Absolutely do not play too aggressively against Ishin. Dodging your moves and punishing you is his entire specialty. In every attack window, try to land just 2 hits maximum, and then wait to see how he reacts. He has 2 perilous attacks, a sweep and a thrust, that you need to constantly look out for across all 3 phases. In phase 1, he delivers these with his katana, but in phase 2, he pulls out a massive spear. Also in phase 1, he has a charged attack called Dragon Flash, which hits in 2 stages. You can deflect the first hit and dodge the second one. Or honestly, you can just pop Phoenix's Lilac Umbrella again to make it completely trivial. In phase 2, Ishin basically turns into Jim Carrey from The Mask. Along with his katana, he suddenly pulls out a gun and a massive spear. In both phase 2 and phase 3, he uses that spear for his perilous sweep and thrust attacks. Fortunately, Mikiri countering his thrusts and jumping on his head during his sweeps are both pretty straightforward. Also, every single shot he fires at you can be blocked or deflected, so don't panic when he pulls out the gun. In both the 2nd and 3rd phases, he has this charged attack, where he winds up his spear and spins it all the way around himself. With the right timing, you can just jump on his head and land 2 quick strikes as you come down. Most of the time, if you overcommit and hit him more than twice, he'll dodge backward and poke you from a distance with that spear. So, if you spam the attack button, you are absolutely getting wrecked. Now, phase 3 is identical to phase 2, except he adds lightning attacks to his moveset. If you've mastered the lightning reversal, this will literally be the easiest phase of the entire fight. But if you haven't, well, it's gonna be your worst nightmare.
九郎様。
久しいな、巫女の忍び。見よ、不思議りのもう一振りよ。
健一郎殿、そのようなものでは決してアシナの命運は変わりませぬ。狼よ、流因など誰の手にもあるべきではないのだ。苦労をかけるな。
御意。参る。
ああ、しまいとしよう。俺がアシナを生かす。結局何もできなかった。だが流因がこの国を生かす。これでアシナの世は明ける。
哀れな孫の最後の願いじゃ。わしはこのアシナをよみがえらせねばならぬ。故に赤炉、お主を切るぞ。参れ、赤炉。たぎってきた。行くぞ、赤炉。
Alright, so beating Ishin locks in some massive rewards for us. First, we get a memory that we can instantly turn into an attack power. Next, we unlock a skill called Dragon Flash, which is hands down the best range skill in the entire game. But most importantly, since we just took down the final boss, we've unlocked a brand new feature, the Gauntlet of Strength. This feature is basically a set of 4 different boss rush challenges, and clearing 3 of them will net you some incredible rewards. And this is exactly why I wanted to tackle Ishin first. I want to jump straight into the first gauntlet, which is by far the easiest one, and secure those rewards early. Completing this first challenge gives us 2 things: another memory for yet another attack power point, and one of the absolute best combat arts in the game. Before we jump into the challenge, there's one quick skill we need to unlock: Living Force. Once you have this, whenever you use any version of the Flame Vent or Divine Abduction, you can immediately hit a follow-up attack to buff your sword. It's easily one of the best skills in the game for getting a weapon buff at the cost of a few spirit emblems. The only real catch is that the buff doesn't last very long, but it makes a huge difference while it's active. Just so you know, the Gauntlet of Strength has absolutely nothing to do with your trophies. Like I said, it's a pure challenge mode, so it is not going to be a walk in the park. The easiest one of the bunch is the Divine Air Gauntlet. Here, you have to run through 3 main bosses. First up is Gyobu Oniwa, then Lady Butterfly, and finally, an enhanced version of Genichiro, called Inner Genichiro. Now, the movesets and attack types for the first 2 bosses are exactly the same as their base game versions. The only real difference is that they might play a bit more aggressively, and of course, they have way more vitality and posture, making them a lot harder to break. But here is the catch with all 4 gauntlets: they are single life challenges. This means you have to beat every single boss in a row without dying even once. If you see that death screen, the entire gauntlet resets and you're right back to boss number 1. Same thing goes if you quit or exit the gauntlet midway. It completely resets just like dying. This whole section is completely optional. My goal here is twofold. First, like I promised you back in episode 1, I want to show you 100% of the game's content. And second, I want to bag that extra attack power point before we go face the demon of hatred. Another massive tip for you guys: your rare consumables, like Jesus statues or rice for healing, aren't actually lost permanently when you use them inside a gauntlet. They are only consumed while you are inside the challenge. Once you exit or finish, they are fully refunded back into your inventory. This is a huge lifesaver for making these runs way easier. To make things even smoother, you can head over to the Reflection of Strength menu. There, you can practice against any boss individually until you've completely mastered their attack patterns before actually attempting the gauntlet. And here's the most important piece of advice regarding the final enhanced inner bosses. The exact moment you encounter the final boss of a gauntlet, whether you win or lose, that inner version instantly unlocks in your Reflection of Strength menu. So, please, do not repeat my stupidity. When I first played this, I thought you could only fight these enhanced bosses inside the actual gauntlets. That meant every single time I choked at the final boss, I had to restart all the way from boss number 1. God only knows how many hours I wasted repeating these runs. Don't be like me. The second you reach Inner Genichiro, if you die, just exit the gauntlet and practice against him in Reflection of Strength until you learn his new moves. Only jump back into the actual gauntlet once you've completely mastered every single boss in the lineup. Otherwise, you are absolutely getting wrecked.
やるじゃないかせがれどの腕を上げたね狼
The fight with inner Genichiro is actually super similar to Genichiro Ashina. He's just way more aggressive, and he brings two brand new attack types to the table. The first one is a skill called Sakura Dance, and trust me, he's going to spam this a lot. The best way to handle it is to deflect the first two hits, then quickly dodge the third one to punish him. Personally, I think the absolute best combat art to punish this opening is Ichimonji Double. His second new trick is a follow-up attack right after he uses his bow. Both the arrow he fires and the follow-up strike can actually be deflected pretty easily. You just need to get the timing down. Now, here's where things get crazy. In phase 3, inner Genichiro hits you with a double lightning reversal. That means when he throws lightning at you and you reverse it back to him, he uses Sakura Dance to catch it mid-air and hurl it right back at you again. So you literally have to pull off a back-to-back lightning reversal. And honestly, it is insanely tough. The smartest move here is to just completely forget about the lightning reversal. Instead, stay glued to him for the entire third phase. If you stay right in his face, his lightning attacks will completely miss you. That's exactly how I handled phase 3 in my run, just getting up close and personal to shut down his lightning entirely. Once you take down Inner Genichiro, one of the rewards you get is Sakura Dance. It only costs a single spirit emblem per use, and since it's a combat art executed in mid-air, it is hands down the absolute best tool for lightning reversals. Once you have it, all you need to do when facing any enemy with lightning attacks is equip it and pop it right as the lightning hits. You'll hurl the lightning right back at them without taking a single scratch of chip damage. Plus, remember that mid-air prosthetic skill we unlocked earlier? Since Sakura Dance keeps you airborne, you can actually transition straight into your prosthetic tools, as you're coming down to chain together some absolutely insane combos. Alright, it's time to face the demon of hatred. Honestly, you're gonna want to load up your quick items menu with every single healing and resurrection item you have left. This fight is a beast. The damage he deals is so ridiculous that half the time, he won't even give you a split second to heal. Plus, get ready, because this is where you're going to experience fire attacks at their absolute peak. For some players, this guy is actually on the easier side. But for people like me, he is hands down the hardest boss in the game. Since you'll be dealing with constant fire damage the entire time, two things are absolutely mandatory. Suzaku's Lotus Umbrella, which completely negates fire damage, and Dowsing Powder, both to boost your fire resistance and to put out the flames if you actually catch fire. On paper, the strategy is simple. Just chip away at his vitality and don't get hit. But in practice, it's brutally tough. There are 3 specific attacks you need to constantly look out for. Whenever you see him glowing like this and getting ready to leap into the air, back away immediately. The moment he slams into the ground, you need to jump and use your grappling hook to close the distance instantly. Now, you could use Suzaku's Lotus Umbrella to block the damage entirely, but I highly recommend saving your spirit emblems. We're going to need every single one of them for phase 3, which is by far the hardest part of the fight. This boss also has a brutal perilous attack. Whenever you see that kanji symbol flash, you need to jump, and jump fast. If you get caught by it, you're looking at losing easily 80 to 90% of your health. And if you aren't at full vitality, it's an instant one-shot. Honestly, the further away you are from this boss, the harder the fight becomes. Despite his massive size, he loves to leap across the arena, practically flying away from you, just so he can swing that piece of fiery arm of his and hurl a wave of fire your way. Dodging those flames from a distance is a total nightmare, but you'll get a grappling hook prompt during this animation. If you time your jump right, you can avoid the fire and pull yourself right back into the action. His close-range attacks, whether he's using his hands, feet, or head, can actually be deflected. But your main focus should just be staying up close and swinging. The best strategy is to get behind him and hit him from the back. Of course, He's not exactly going to just let you hang around his royal app, but you've just got to keep trying. You're gonna see in a second how badly I panicked at the start of the fight. I got absolutely destroyed while trying to remember his moveset. Just make sure to keep your weapon buffed with Divine Confetti at all times to maximize your damage. The first 2 phases are the only real hurdle. For phase 3, you won't even have to fight him, as long as you've hoarded your spirit emblems. See, this boss has one massive weakness across all 3 phases. He's completely vulnerable to the Malcontent prosthetic, and we're gonna save that exploit strictly for phase 3. Just remember, the game doesn't let you spam it. It only works a maximum of 3 times, so don't waste it early. Save all 3 charges for the final, most brutal phase. The moment you pop that second death blow, you'll have a solid window before phase 3 officially starts. Use that time to pop a Yashariku sugar and reapply your Divine Confetti. As soon as phase 3 begins, drop your first Malcontent. The demon will stagger hard. You have time for a maximum of 10 hits here. Don't get greedy. Immediately follow up with a second Malcontent, and this time land up to 8 hits. Then trigger Malcontent for the third and final time, land about 3 hits, and instantly chain it into 2 mortal draws. Just like that, his posture completely shatters without a single real exchange, and the fight is over. That's exactly why you need to enter phase 3 with your spirit emblems maxed out at 25. One last tip, the very first time you drop into this arena, you'll notice 2 interior ministry soldiers already trading blows with the demon. To be honest, I can't remember if they respawn if you die and run it back, but they're basically there as a distraction. I've never seen them pull aggro onto Sekiro. Use that to your advantage while the boss is busy with them. I wouldn't bother trying to puppet them. It's just a waste of emblems. If you can play it smart and keep those 2 alive until the end of phase 1, your run is going to be infinitely easier.
へえ、あんたが生き残ったのかい。なんとなくは分かってるんだろう。あの片腕の鬼が元は何者だったのか。
いや。
そうかい。その方がいいかもしれないね。何の因果か。塩素の炎に焼かれ、鬼となり苦しむ者がいた。あんたはそれを終わらせた。それだけのことさね。あんた、覚えておき。塩素はもう、戦が続けば、弱んだからって。
Alright guys, huge congratulations. Together, we finally beat the game for the very first time. In the previous episodes, we went out of our way to grab all the items for 3 out of the 4 endings. If you've been following along with this walkthrough, you've got them ready too. Now, you could technically use save scumming, backing up your save and reloading it, to watch all 3 endings and pop the trophies right now. But if this is your first time playing Sekiro, I highly recommend against doing that. Sekiro isn't a massive game. It wraps up pretty fast. In this first playthrough, we've already done all the heavy lifting. We upgraded our prosthetic tools and unlocked nearly every key skill across the 5 skill trees. With the game offering 4 different endings, it's almost like it's telling you, struggle through the first run, but then take everything you've built and just have fun tearing through the next New Game Plus cycles. To be completely honest, if you 100% the first run like we did, New Game Plus doesn't have much left to reward you with. Every mini-boss you defeat from here on out will just drop coin purses. Once your prosthetics are upgraded and you've bought the essentials, money completely loses its value in this game. You won't need it for anything unless you're stocking up on Divine Confetti or Spirit Emblems. At that point, New Game Plus is mostly about having fun with everything you've unlocked, destroying enemies, and pushing your attack power even higher. Since we have the items for 3 endings ready to go, I'm going to show all 3 of them right after my outro. So, if you want to avoid spoilers, this is your cue to close the video right now. But wait, our journey with Sekiro isn't quite over yet. We still have 5 episodes left in this walkthrough series. One of them will be dedicated to the second Gauntlet of Strength challenge, which is completely optional. The remaining 4 episodes will focus on getting the game's bad ending and upgrading the last 2 prosthetic tools, so we can finally platinum this game. We are going to blitz through that bad ending with a quick fast run. At the end of the day, how you want to proceed is completely up to you. I'm gonna sign off right here. As always, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next episode.
おそばにおります。竜の涙。
生涯の忍びを虫たちをお願いできますか。 これはやはりあなたが持っていてください。また新しい忍びが力を求める時が来るでしょう。
おそばにおります。竜の涙を。最後の不死を成敗いたす。人として生きてくだされ。
行かれるのですね。はい。私も人として懸命に生き、そして死のうと思います。我が忍びがそうしてくれたように。エマ殿にもお世話になりました。
おそばにおります。竜の涙を。参りましょう、我が巫女。
九郎殿、今はどうか安らかに私の心にとどまってください。さようなら、みんな。私は、行かねばなりません。我らの因果を断ち切るために。とても長い旅になります。それでも共に来てくださるのですか？
はい。
ありがとう、竜の忍びよ。九郎殿も喜んでおります。参りましょう。西に神なる竜の故郷に。